Just a quick introduction about Lily. Lily is one of the earliest users of Rankscale. I can state that by now, Lily is also one of the friends of the group, of the club. Lily is a founder of Saltanat Labs, which is an agency focused actually on improving the AI search visibility of B2B startups, but in general also B2B, if I understand correctly. Today, Lily will guide you through the analysis of another B2B startup from Belgium, where we will focus on checking actually what are potential gaps that we have with competitors and also what are potential ways to improve our AI search visibility. So right now I will give the stage to Lily. Lily, once again, thank you very much for co-hosting the session. And then just two quick messages for everybody. If you have a question during the session, please just put it in the chat and then we can go through it afterwards. Or you can just ask it at the end of the webinar. And also always interesting to know about this one. Please put in the chat where you're from. Just curious. We are from Vienna. Lily, you are based in?
Sofia, Bulgaria.
Sofia, Bulgaria. I would like to see it from everybody else in the chat. All right. So right now, Lily, you can share your screen and then we can really start the deep dive and audit.
My name is Lily Grozeva. I am the founder of Saltanat Labs. This is a small agency focused on SEO and AI search. Personally, I've been on the field for many years. Actually, it's 20 years now this year. And today I'm going to spend some time showing you why it's important for, if you have a brand you care for, to do an audit for AI search visibility and for overall organic visibility, which is mostly AI now. Why it's important? We will be using Tom from the audience here gladly shared some direction of the company for us. And we will be using Driven as an example to show you what kind of result you can expect, what kind of results you won't expect when you get an AI visibility check on your brand. So we will be going through a whole process like that. So the agenda for today, we only have something like a little bit over half an hour. So we will go through a couple of things. I will be framing a little bit of what the method is, what we're trying to achieve with this AI visibility audit. I will run it, or it will be a semi-live results you will see for Driven, because I already ran the test so that we escape any problems we might have if the review is really live. So I will show you how Driven shows up across engines, across different topics, branded versus non-branded, how they what they should focus on, what they already own in terms of buyer prompts. Then we will focus a little bit more on what I consider the most important report you can have in an AI analytics tool. And this is, it might be called different names, but usually it's sources, citations, mentions within those lines. It's literally the report that shows how your ecosystem and yourself and your own website and assets actually talks about your product, your brand, the features that you already have and you are trying to sell. And at the end of the session, I will show you what a very quick roadmap would look like to trying to close that gap in terms of what you can do in the next couple of weeks, what you can do in the next couple of months or a little bit longer, so that you have next steps you look forward to. Obviously, if you have a brand at hand, you can run this approach to any brand you want. Again, thanks Tom and team for giving us a little bit of direction about Driven and the opportunity to review that brand. So a little bit of, framing what changed, how is this different from what we've seen in Google? Like the Google results, maybe the biggest difference for brands is that the Google results for many years, like almost 30 years now, are giving the buyers a list of results. They had the opportunity to go through whatever number they wanted them, usually the top 3, the top 5 results. They click on different websites, check on them, like their content, usually home pages, but written pages as well. They check what's written on them, what's presented on them. They have the opportunity to build up a perception on their own about what this brand is, if they are what they're looking for, if it fits their need. And if not, they can go back, compare brands, move along page 2, page 3, which we know almost never happens. But usually they go through maybe 3, 5 page 1 results. What is different now, and we have that as some statistics from organizations that are measuring and reporting that. Right now, what's going on in LLMs and in the AI-enabled features on the Google homepage is that people run 7 to 8, that's obviously generalized, but 7 to 8 different, a dialogue of 7 to 8 sentences, like it's a conversation. And at the end of that conversation, when specific brand recommendations pop up, this is usually a set of 2, 3, 4 brands that serve specific needs. So somebody is talking to the LLM platform sometime, they exchange 7 to 8 sentences back and forth to define what the need is, what exactly the buyer wants. And at the end of the day, the LLM is showing up the so-called shortlist of a couple of brands. And the whole idea of this process we are going to go through is to end up in this shortlist, when the end of the conversation is you should try this brand, or a good option to fill your to solve your problems is this or that brand. It is to be a set of specific brands. So this is the difference. At the old days, it was the user who decided what is good for them. If they're going, they pick up the brands and decide what's good for them. Right now, it's an AI platform that decides who are the brands that will be shortlisted as the right options as a solution to a problem. Something that was very, in my opinion, not enough covered in the last couple of years since AI search became a thing, is what do we measure when we talk about AI search? Like, obviously, at the old times from 2 years ago, we used to measure traffic, we used to measure visits, we used to measure different events and conversions going on the website. Right now, with AI search and this brand perception, brand positioning being taken over by the AI, there are a couple of, it's a little bit of a change in what exactly we mention, so that we measure, so that we make sure that we measure the right thing, we optimize the right thing, so that we got the business outcomes that we hope for. So the 4 things: presence and position. Is the brand named, and how prominently? Something that I have witnessed in across over 50 audits right now, that there is no such thing as a brand not being mentioned when the user asks for this specific brand. So branded positioning works. You are included. There was some perception some time ago that, is ChatGPT going to mention me, or Perplexity or Claude or whatever? Rest assured, if somebody asking for you, you're going to be included. You're going to be included in the set. But the problem is how you're going to be included there. We get to that in a minute. Another thing that has also been important, and is part of the whole thing in search visibility in general since forever, this is the share of voice. For a certain number of prompts, in this case, what is our share of voice? What is our how prominent we are in the results? How often we are measured? And the third thing is framing and sentiment. For me, from the audits that I did, this is the place that is the most risky one for brands, because there is this one example I give every time. It's like, if we imagine like all the internet websites and pages being like a big worm bucket, like a big bucket with literally worms. Like, you know, this is something live that is different and messy and going here and there, and it's very dynamic. But the platforms like Google, LinkedIn, and like the big tech platforms, they over the last 30 years, they had the with all the Google algorithm updates, with all the changes, the patches, the guardrails they put a lid on that specific bucket with worms. And we as users, when we go on Google search, when we go on platforms like that, like again, LinkedIn or YouTube or whatever, we don't get messy results, like really messy results. For example, if you remember a couple of years ago, May 24, I think, when Google first launched the Google AI Overviews feature, we have these crazy results like suggestions, put a glue on your pizza, or you should eat rocks when you ask a question, things like that. These are the worms getting out of the bucket because the guardrails that Google built over the years in the form of Google algorithm updates and all that, it's now, the lid is gone, and you know, the messy results are showing up. And with LLM results, this is something that is going on. OpenAI and Anthropic and all the different big players in LLM visibility that we know, they do not have these guardrails right now. So LLM visibility looks more like Google in 2005, more than in 2025. With that said, it's very important for everyone, no matter if you're an owner of a brand, to go and check your ChatGPT, Perplexity, Claude, etc. visibility and see if there are some worms out of the bag, and how are you exactly, or your brand is presented and framed, and what is the sentiment around your brand in AI results. And again, the most important place you should focus on when doing any AI search, auditing or optimization, or just to gain an idea of your visibility, that would be the sources and citation reports. Okay, Driven now. This is a real brand, real buyers. What this brand is for, it's a sales commission software. It's run by an AI agent. The AI agent can help you design plans, review disputes, reports. So if you are an organization with a big sales team that is paid on a commission, you will be able to use, you will have a great value using Driven to help you out with the AI agent on this, design the plans, and be able to pay commissions for your sales team. This is what I got. If the Driven team has some other perception, please correct me. It's a Belgian startup. It integrates with Salesforce, HubSpot, Slack. Slack is very important for the team. As I was told, they are also certified. And why a clean test case? It's a sharp name category. It's a brand new category, so it's relatively new. It's not a legacy category. So with every new category, you have the opportunity, but also you have the risk. There are a couple of named players already, but still the opportunity is fresh for the team to find their way there. They already defined what the buyer is, RevOps, sales, finance teams. And we have a real prompts supplied by the Driven team. Thanks for this. And what the main claims the brands wants to make is they want to own the agent speed and the Slack integration for their brand in AI results. These are the prompts that we used for the test today. Again, these are actual prompts provided by the team. The engines, the LLMs models we're going to check on would be ChatGPT, AI Overviews, and AI Mode in Google, and Gemini in Google as well, Perplexity, and Claude. So we're going back to Rankscale now, so that I show you what that kind of report looks like. But when we go there, I will give you a very brief glimpse of how I use Rankscale, which I think it will be informational for some of you, maybe give you some ideas. But what we focus on, because as any tool, there is a lot of data, a person could get really mesmerized with so many insights, and it might be difficult to focus on the actionable insights. So what we focus on is driven named, so that does it appear at all? And if yes, how? We're going to see that. How high it appears. So does it appear in the so-called shortlist with a couple of recommended options? Who else appears? This is also very informational for most of the brands I talk with. Sometimes there are very interesting mismatches, like they hope or they expect for a certain set of competitors to appear, but that's not exactly the case. And as I said, the most interesting question would be how they are framed. Again, the team's direction and their target would be they want to be framed as agent-driven, speed is important, Slack integration is important as well. We will check if this is really the case. So go into Rankscale now. You guys should see my screen now in Rankscale, right?
Yes, we can see it.
Okay. Okay, so this is the driven the driven profile in Rankscale that I run. I usually start setting up a brand review from the topics. What's really insightful and would help you to set up topics that are branded versus non-branded. I also usually add a couple of more. These are the topics that you set up so that later it will be really helpful for you to filter by topic. That's the main idea. So if you care about filtering, for example, per product or per, let's say, leadership positioning, that's a thing as well, or some credibility markers, like if these are prompts around how diligent is your brand or things like that, you can focus on that as well. But to simplify the whole thing, here we have the branded versus the non-branded prompts. I usually bulk out them from here. You will find that easily. We're not doing a Rankscale walkthrough now. But again, branded versus non-branded. So then I go to the search terms and enter that. For branded, I have them here sorted by LLM platform. So we have the Claude branded. These are the same prompts, just it's Claude, ChatGPT, AI mode, etc. So this is what we see here. So what we're looking for, again, as I said, what we're looking for is, are they named? How high? Who else is there? And how they're framed. So these are the search terms. We pull the reports from this, and then we can start from here and start slice and dicing, so to say. So this is a dashboard. Here again, this is the overall positioning. Sorry. This is the overall visibility score the brand has. So 43.2 sounds like really good positioning. Considering other B2B tech brands, it's really good number. However, if we go into the topics and say, are these the branded? Branded, actually, they're doing pretty well. Detection rate is really high. It's almost 82% of the time when the prompt that the buyer is using is including driven name. Almost 8 out of 10 times the brand name is included. What is the situation with the non-branded though? Here the situation is a little bit less dire. So if we look at the other competitors here, we can see what the actual situation is. So non-branded is around 5%. And the main competitors, which are Captivate, IQ, Quarterpath, and pretty much everybody besides maybe Salesforce, and I don't know about exactly in Send, but everybody from 35 to 56% are actually getting the visibility that that is an opportunity actually for Driven to get into that set. So for example, if we want to see how that looks like, let's say beta agent for sales commission management, I would assume that is an important prompt result for the team. Then we can check out how that looks like. Okay, so Salesforce, HubSpot, Stripe, these are big players that we expect them to see there. And exactly, the brand exactly is here as well, but we don't see we don't see Driven, but we also don't see the main competitors as well. So what does this mean? How is this important to us? How is this information, and what we can do about it? Again, the citation report is usually your place to go in that situation. We go to, here we're looking for I think it was that specific prompt. We select the prompt best AI agent for sales commission management. And in the citation report, the main idea is we try to understand when the LLMs are building the answer about, putting HubSpot and Salesforce, Einstein, and all those specific brands mentioned in the answer, where is this data coming from? And this is the report we want to look at. So the main places turns out to be these specific domains here, which some of them are competitors. And if we want to build a campaign around it, we would also want to know what type of content we need to put together. So that would be blog content, product pages, product blog, which I'm not sure how exactly distinguish that. We need to go into the specific URLs, how much of that is owned here from the Driven team. And for just one prompt, we don't have so big of a data set. So this is what we are doing here. So what we're trying to understand with the whole situation here is, what are the exact, for each of these prompts, what I would suggest is to go through per model and per prompt. Obviously, we already seen what is the discrepancy between the branded and non-branded. The branded type of citations and the citations report, we would be using to see if there is a specific misframing of the brand. Usually this is on our own assets, and we can go and check this out. Let me give you one example. So for the citations, for example, if we go to the branded searches, we can say, when it comes to our own brand, and if we want to increase this 81.7%, I think it was, if we want to increase that, or we find an error in the presence of the Driven brand in the AI answers, these are the specific places that we need to go. You can export that and go to the certain to URLs. We can go to that and try to change or update the content on that places. That's literally what we need to do. So this is more like of a maintenance project when you look at your branded sources. If, however, you want to improve your however you want to improve your visibility, then we need to go to the non-branded sources. The non-branded sources, here we can see the opportunities where we already know that we only have around 5% of visibility for those prompts, but we can check what are the sources feeding the results for the other brands that are mentioned, and we will run a campaign that will help us be included there. So the main job here, set up the topics, branded, non-branded, then go set up your specific prompts, choose the models that work for you. Usually, you should know that increasing visibility for different LLM platforms is not copy cut altogether. So there are differences. So I would spend some time talking to real customers and ask them like real questions. What are your preferred LLM platforms that you use? Are you mostly using ChatGPT, or you prefer Claude or Perplexity, or you're relying on Google AI mode and AI overviews only? So I would make a research if I were Driven or some other brand, and based on that, I would focus on certain LLM platforms, not just visibility in general, because optimization for different LLM platforms is really different. So this is one thing. So topics, search terms. Then when it comes to the branded, when the branded prompts, citations are coming from, go and look at it as a hygiene project. You should go and make sure that if there is a need to increase the inclusion rate, or there is a need to change something because it's not presented well, then that's the place to go. If it's non-branded, this is literally your campaign for increasing visibility for your category. But again, the main job is to go through the 20 prompts, branded versus non-branded, review and make conclusions on those specific categories that we named already. Going back to our agenda here. Okay, so in the case of Driven as an example, as an overall stats, what we put together is 20 prompts, 6 LLM engines, overall visibility score 43.2, average position based on those bunch of branded and non-branded prompts together is pretty good. If we, however, remove the branded sources, it will change significantly. Positive sentiment is something that we haven't checked in the Rankscale report, but actually the Driven brand is doing pretty good when it comes to comparison to the rest of the competitor set when it comes to sentiment, how actually the LLM understands the different features, the different capabilities of the product, and how it compares to the rest of the group. So again, here it is. The gray bars are category competitor set, what we have for the whole bunch of prompts we care for. Driven is having almost twice the Cobra IO visibility, which is pretty significant. But when it comes to the detection rate, which means that how visible is the brand when the model starts spinning and answering the same question, then it drops significantly. And the main conclusion is that the name is well understood by the LLM platforms. And by the way, this is not a given as much as people think. There, again, a bucket of worms, the lid is out. I have come across quite a few brands that actually have problem optimizing for entities, and their brand was actually not recognized from the LLM. So here is it's a win that Driven is recognized as the brand name that it is. But again, the opportunity to own and be higher position in this new category is quite significant. This is the actual opportunity for, here it's marked with certain terms. These are the exact terms the team is hoping to gather more traction. It's around the best opportunity. Here, for none of the best comparison, the Driven product appears as high as hoped, literally for none of them. There are some inclusion for automate commission calculations and best AI agent for commissions, so maybe starting from there. But overall, the opportunity for non-branded is quite significant. So we started at the beginning that the team gave us direction that they want to be known as the commission agent, how fast the implementation is, and the Slack integration. When it comes to the commission agent, it's 1 inclusion out of 6, so not quite good. When it comes to the fast implementation, half of the work is done there. 3 out of 6 answers already include Driven as a solution. Same for the Slack integration. And where the answers are coming from, this is very top level type of reports. I would advise to go into the whole list of, here you can see it's 841 citation, almost 200 domains and 33,000 brands. The good thing is that most of the answers when it comes to obviously the branded prompts include Driven, which means that you have the opportunity to control the information a little bit, because your website is used a lot as a source when somebody's asking about you. Your website is often the source of that information. This is, again, also not given for other brands. For Everstage, probably as well, and for Cobra, they have a good usage of their own brand content as well. But for you, you are able to do this hygiene on your own. So keeping an eye on your website, it's really good idea, starting any updates from there. But to be able to run a whole campaign and increase your visibility in AI search, I would go to this almost 900 citations list and find the opportunity to be included there as well, when obviously you are not already. And also, as you probably heard, because we SEO people did our best to make as much noise as possible on this, is SEO important or not important for AI visibility? I would say it is. It's still at the foundation of visibility in general, and also the one asset you fully control, because obviously controlling other people's website and hope for citation is way harder. In the case of Driven, the content is rather thin and informational. So the competitors the website is comparing against are having what I would say 20 or more times more keywords they rank for. The authority of the website also is not as we hope it should be to gain real traction in the competition. 69% of the content is informational, which might be good from some angles, but still it will be it will be a good idea to add more transactional and commercial content, and especially around the offering and how the brand compares, not just to different competitors, which is something that they already do, but talking about certain solutions, certain problems that they solve. I'm thinking FAQ sections here, not necessarily one brand versus another brand type of content. So another thing that's a big thing in the SEO world, and here as well, ranking in AI search is often a function of AI authority, of website authority, domain authority as well. Again, because the shortlist is shorter than before, we really hope to be included based on as much merit as possible. So trust is very important, and we would aim to have backlinks that are really on point, as away from spam as possible. And currently the situation needs some attention. SEMrush as a tool can provide a report, and a review is needed there, because currently the toxicity score is considered high. So that would be a pretty, I would advise to go with that next step, to go after the toxicity score and prune the backlinks a little bit. So the 4 opportunity as levers would be try to win the category shortlists. This best type of prompts should be immediate priority. Make your claims provable. So that means all these agent speed and Slack integrations that you aim for, you already have that type of content on the website, but I would advise the team to find external opportunities, because you need external validations that you are really as good at it as you claim on your website to be. Then comparison pages, again, you already have that against certain competitors, but also try to participate in review websites and include an FAQ section that is around certain problems, your non-branded problems that your product is solving, and fixing the foundations, this SEO considerations that I just showed. The backlink, the toxic backlinks would be relatively easy to fix, like literally a couple of hours work. So when it comes to roadmap, something you can start doing immediately, in the next couple of weeks, you can start answer shaped pages. Again, think FAQs or a blog post that are in that shape, that are around best type of content. Then claim your space in the review websites like G2, Capterra. They're very popular B2B platforms for reviews. Comparison Hub, you already started a great job with yourself against competitors. Maybe continue the work around that with providing more details on not just like the pricing type of pages you currently have, but go deeper on that and start compare in more details how you're different than the rest. And I already said about disavowing toxic backlinks. And for the next couple of quarters, like a more resource-heavy projects, that would be to increase the topical authority. Think about building a content plan with optimizing current existing content and producing new content. That would be obviously around certain prompts that you want to win, starting with the best, but also that could be expanded more, because again, you already have less than 200 keywords you rank for in comparison to the rest of the group you compare to. That means that you don't talk enough about your capabilities as the rest did over time, probably. Listicles, just don't do the spammy type of listicles, like build your own list and put yourself on top of that. That's already considered a spammy technique. But you will definitely be able to put together, for example, co-citation is a good project, for example, for Reddit. Somebody from the team can go on Reddit and start a thread and say to, let's say, to a sales team users, address them, say, why are you choosing the tool you're using, and what would convince you change to some other vendor? And this is, for example, the type of questions people start answering with mentioning different vendors, and obviously you will have your listicle content without necessarily be considered a spam, just a normal Reddit thread with people discussing different vendor solutions. For the agent speed and Slack integration direction, a couple of case studies I think would do a great job. And obviously you should continue using Rankscale to track your visibility over time, because as anything in visibility, it's usually tracked, reviewed, analyzed, and then new insights are provided to better improve the situation. Obviously, everybody in the audience, you can run this on your own brand. All you need is your URL, name variations, if you have any, the real buyer prompts, or at least decent enough. Group by theme, you can use different themes, as I said, branded, non-branded, positioning, comparison, all that, leadership, all that. Pick language and engines, specifically about the engines, focus on the ones that your actual audience uses. If you don't know what engines that are, ask them. When it comes to measurement, presence, are you there? Position, how are you positioned? How the story about your brand is set? What is your share of voice? How are you? What is your piece of the pie in comparison to the others? How you're framed? This should be your 4 measurement angles. And your citation or sources report should be like the focal point of all your activities, small tasks or inclusion campaigns or anything you try to achieve, because AI searches focus is more about what the rest, your ecosystem is telling about you rather than what you say on your website about yourself. And that's it. Again, that's the most important thing, focused on sourcing.
Perfect. And I see that we're just a little bit over time. I think it was a very helpful, insightful webinar. I also saw a quick question being asked already. I will quickly ask it, and then Lily, of course, please go ahead and provide the answer. It is in the chat. Do you report results from all 4 measurement categories: share of voice, presence and position, framing and sentiment, sources and citations to clients? And do you check the results on a weekly, monthly, quarterly basis? I use those insights daily, but I have difficulty as to what to report.
The actual process, like obviously it wasn't possible for us to go over 20 prompts across 6 different platforms, which is over 100 different checks we need to make. But in an actual audit that is already made here, what we go through, first of all, in the search term report, there is this one export button that you can use, and you will get all this data in a spreadsheet, which is way more easy to slice and dice. The important thing in the spreadsheet, actually, I will show it to you. The important thing, the most interesting thing in this report is most of the things that I mentioned here, but we didn't see them like in reality, like a screenshot or something. It's currently exporting. I will show it in a minute. And this is where the actual information is coming from. I think this is the most important export, because it gives you, like, we are not able here in a little bit over half an hour meet to go through all of that. But when we go to this, for example, the sentiment, you see the exact identifiers that the AI is using to describe Driven as a brand. The plus, the minus, which is the negative, and I consider like the neutral type of identifiers, like what is the wording, what is the framing, and the adjectives that actually the AI is using. Obviously, they pull that from the sources when they talk about driven, and how that looks for competitors as well. These are the branded, I think. Let's see, non-branded. So to your question, Eva, do you report results from all 4 measurement categories? Yes, I do. I just like most of the information that you need to fill in, the share of voice, the presence and positioning, and especially the positioning and the framing and the sentiment is coming from this Excel, because you see the exact answer that the LLM platform gives, and also what are the objectives. This is something we don't have in Google. Like, Google is not the type of platform that is saying, oh, don't use this or that brand because they're, you know, too expensive, or the integration is very painful, or anything like that. The LLM does exactly that. They literally tell, let me show you one specific thing. Like, for example, here, support only Slack channel. So here it's framed as this is a negative, or limited public API. Like, when it comes to driven, this is what the AI is saying and frames as a negative. And for example, the team here needs to decide if they're okay with this, if they're okay being framed as a limited public API. Same for competitors. I think the competitors were somewhere here. So to your question, I do report on that. We do report in detail. The team on the client side decide, for obviously we can source where exactly this information is coming from. The team decides if they're okay being framed like that, and if we have the agency and control to change that. Sometimes we do, sometimes it's not exactly the case. When it comes to weekly, monthly, and quarterly basis, it literally comes to what type of campaign is that, and how quick is the client to react. We measure based and aligned to how fast the changes we make are. There's no need to measure something when we didn't change anything. Usually measurement is very tied to the campaigns we did, so that, for example, we do campaigns to increase the visibility, like we change content, or for example, clear up toxic results, or we outreach to partners and change narrative around our brand and things that were presented the wrong way or something like that. If we do that like once a month, there is no need for us to measure that every day, because the sources are not changing so fast. Is that answering the question?
And then we also have a second question in the chat, Lily. The question is from Anna Hit. From your personal experience, if you do a successful link building campaign and get featured in listicles, also get backlinks, when can we expect to see results? Do LLMs have a specific check date or something like that? Thank you so much.
The LLMs do not have check dates, but they're probably most of the people in the call already know that information that is presented in the LLM results is usually a mixed bag of the so-called black box, which is a big bunch of data that most of these models are trained to, and it changes not so often. The easiest and dummy way to see what the latest update was, just to ask Claude, where is the last information you have about this, and they usually give you like 2024 sometime, was the last time I checked on this. But this is not all information. A big portion of the results that we see are coming from the so-called retrieval process, which means literally the model is pinging Google, Microsoft's Bing as well, and they're trying to get the information you asked for from the results. Perplexity is also very good at this too. So to your question, if you're doing a link building campaign and you expect to see results, you can use a tool like, let's say, SEMrush, and look at, they have this link building reports you can look at, and you can say, when was this last time this link detected? If your links were detected by the SEMrush platform, let's say a week or 2 weeks ago, it's probably Google knows about it too, so it will be retrieved during a ping from an LLM platform as well. Everybody will get the link to the deck, obviously, and the recording from Jules and the Rankscale team. If a question comes up later, you can always outreach to me on LinkedIn, send me a DM, just ask me something, a specific question that didn't come to mind today. So that's perfectly fine as well.
Perfect. Then I will wind down on this webinar. Thanks everybody for joining this session. Tom, Lily, let's stay a little bit longer in this chat. But then for everybody else, I want to wish you an amazing rest of your day. Thanks for joining, and make sure to join the next sessions of the Rankscale AI Summer Camp as well. Ciao, ciao.
Bye, everyone.